Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Is my voice clearly audible for everyone?
Yes, Prabhu, perfect.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. It is described, Taddinam Durdinam Manye Mega Chadam Na Durdinam Yaddinam Krishna Samlapa Katha Piyusha Varjitam. Generally, the understanding is Taddinam Durdinam Manye. That day is considered to be a bad day when Mega Achadam, when the cloud is covering the sky and it's very gloomy and cold and the whole atmosphere is lacking the sunlight of joy and inspiration, and we feel more lazy, sluggish. Generally, such days are considered to be bad days. But in the life of a devotee, Yaddinam Krishna Samlapa Katha Piyusha Varjitam. That day is a bad day when we are bereft of the opportunity to hear and chant the glories of Krishna. If it's a very bright, sunny morning, and if we are gossiping, that's a bad day. But even in the middle of a winter storm, if we are sitting with devotees with an opportunity to hear and chant, oh, that's a glorious day. That's a wonderful day. Ayu harati vaipumsam udyamastam chayannasau tasyarthe yat kshanonita uttama shloka vartaya. With the rising and the setting of the sun, conditioned souls approach the mouth of death. But with the rising and setting of the sun, devotees who have the opportunity to glorify Krishna are not going towards death, but actually going towards the eternal kingdom of Krishna. The doors of Radha and Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan are mercifully opening for a personality, the Vaishnavas and the Vaishnavis, who are spending days and nights chanting and hearing and remembering. So I'm very grateful and very honored for the opportunity to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam, and to each one of you for kindly participating and inspiring me with your presence. So, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. I offer my obeisances to each one of you. Please kindly offer your blessings and prayers and best wishes. May the right words come at the right time, in the right mood of glorifying Srimad Bhagavatam and purifying our consciousness. So today, we will study the 6th chapter of the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. I was told the 5th chapter was covered in the previous session. So today we will study the 6th chapter. We will definitely need Srimad Bhagavatam with us. So I have my little copy here. So we'll be reading the verses and I'll be adding in a couple of inputs as and when needed. So I request everyone to kindly keep your copy of Srimad Bhagavatam so we can follow through with the flow of the verses. So this is Canto 7, Chapter 6, entitled Prahlad Instructs His Demoniac Schoolmates. Text 1. Shri Prahlad Uvacha Kaumar Acharet Prajno Dharman Bhagavataniha Durlabham Manusham Janma Tadyapyadruvamarthadam. Very famous verse. Srila Prabhupada quoted this many times in his classes and even in his purports. And this is quite interesting. Every word that Prahlad Maharaj is speaking to his classmates is quite profound. In fact, in the first 5 verses in this chapter, Prahlad speaks about utilizing the human form effectively. And in the first verse, he says, Kaumara. Kaumar acharet prajnaha. The word prajnaha means someone who is wise, who is intelligent, who can distinguish right and wrong effectively. Such a person should acharet. Now, this is quite an interesting word, acharet. Should properly execute. And this is not a request from Prahlad Maharaj. This is an instruction. Acharet, like patet, Likhet, you must, you should. That kind of mood of a compassionate teacher. He said an intelligent, wise person, acharet, should definitely practice. Should definitely practice. What should he practice? Dharma, spiritual principles. But what kind of dharma? Bhagavata dharma. Because there is kula dharma, stri dharma, jati dharma, ashram dharma, varnam dharma. There is the duties of a woman, there's a duty of a man, there's a duty according to whether someone is a celibate monk or whether someone is a householder, etc. And that's not what is spoken here. This is Bhagavad Dharma, Paro Dharma. What is Paro Dharma? Yato Bhaktir Adhokshaje. Performing bhakti. So one should perform bhakti and become a devotee, offer, render loving, unconditional, uninterrupted, unmotivated, incessantly flowing devotional service at the lotus feet of Vishnu or Krishna. From what age should one perform this bhakti? Kaumara. Kaumara means right from the age from birth to 5 years old. That 5-year time span is called Kumar Avastha or Kaumara or Balya Avastha. From that time span, Prahlad Maharaj says one must perform the principles of Bhagavad Dharma or Bhakti. Well, somebody could say that why should you perform Bhakti, especially when children walk around with Kantimala and Tilak. Many age-old seniors in India especially, they say, what's the need of performing Bhakti when you're a child? Now you should enjoy life, you should play with toys, run around and live a simple, easy, easy to comprehend life. You can perform all this when you're old. So there's a big problem with that mindset because Prahlad Maharaj says, Durlabham Manusham Janma, Tadapi Adruvam Arthadam. First of all, this human form is rarely attained. And secondly, Adruvam, it flickers. Sometimes the health is good, sometimes the health comes down. And more importantly, there is no predictability. We can't predict the lifespan of a human being. It's possible somebody may not even survive beyond 5 or 6 years old. There are unfortunate cases where children are born, either they die in the womb or they die at birth, or many times they are born healthy, but then they contract some terminal disease and then in a few years they depart, unfortunately, but this does happen. So adruvam means it is temporary. Human form is rare to attain, and after attaining, it is even more rare to maintain it and to be alive. Okay, what if, let's say, we go past the age of 20, 30 and we live a long life? Why not perform bhakti when we are 70 years old? What's the problem with that? So Sripad Adi Shankaracharya, he dismantles that thought process by saying, Angam galitam palitam mundam, dashana vihina jatah tundam, vruddho yati grihitva dandam, tadapi na munchati asha pindam. He says old age is quite a difficult time because angam galitam, our skin sags, the senses start getting weaker. We can't remember things. We can't see what we read. We can't hear and comprehend. Our senses don't function the way they should. Sometimes we have an Alzheimer's problem. We have Parkinson's problem. We have tremors in our hands. We can't perform arati to Krishna. We need glasses to read. We need a hearing aid to hear. And still we can't comprehend and remember what we are hearing and reading. When would you execute it? And palitam mundam, old age is a time where we go bald or the hair goes gray. Dashana vihinaha jataha tundam, the teeth start falling off. We can't even chant properly or articulate what we want to say. Vruddhoyati grihitva dandam, we can circumambulate Tulsi because we need a walking stick. We are tethered to one corner of the room. We may have been a pilot in our life and being airborne, but now we are chairborne. We are uh, always in a wheelchair. That's not the time when we do the highest purpose why we have attained the human form of life. So, Kaumara Acharet Prajnaha, intelligent person should start performing bhakti right from childhood. Durlabham Manujam Janma, because this human form is rare. And Adruvam, after attaining it, how long it's going to survive? It's like a bubble. You don't know when this human form is going to burst. Therefore, it's also sometimes compared to Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Talamala Bhajahu Hari Pada Niti Re. Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Talamala Bhajahu Hari Pada Niti Re. Govinda Das Kaviraj has described our human form of life is like a tottering water droplet on a lotus leaf. You never know when it's going to slip and fall back in to the pool or the water pond. And this human form has an amazing characteristic, and that is, Prahlad Maharaj says, Arthadam. Artha means Paramartha, the highest meaning to life, the highest value to life. And Da means to give. This human form is the only form which can give us the highest attainment, which is Prema Pumartho Mahan, Prema Dhana Bina Vyartha Daridra Jivan, which is love for Radha and Krishna. This can be attained only in the human form of life. So first of all, it's rare to attain. Why? Jalajanava Lakshani Sthavara Lakshavimshati. Padma Puran describes, which Srila Prabhupada quotes many times in the purport, that according to the Padma Puran, one transmigrates in aquatic forms many, many times, 10 lakh times. 1 lakh is 100,000. So 10 lakh is 1 million, right? So 10 lakh. And then Jalaja Navalakshani Sthavara Laksha Vimshati. And then the tree form, 20 lakh. Animal form, 30 lakh. Bird form, another 10 lakh. Insect form, another 11 lakh. And transmigrating this way, you find that we have only about 4 lakh human forms. We're not talking about the population. We're talking about the category of consciousness. Many in the human form are unfortunately born mentally challenged or physically crippled or financially handicapped. By Krishna's mercy, we should be very grateful that Krishna has given us a roof to live under, a comfortable roof. Krishna has not made us by our own karma or by Krishna's mercy, made us homeless. Krishna has given us parents. We were not born orphaned. So many wonderful things to be grateful for. I remember one devotee on WhatsApp once had a status, a written status, which I read, and it made me think. He said, the status on his WhatsApp said, I am so busy counting my blessings, I don't have time to count what I have been not given in life, what I have been denied in life. I'm so busy counting my blessings, I have no time to count what I have been denied. But unfortunately, we deny our blessings and we are counting what we are denied, right? So in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj says, Krishna loves us and therefore he has given us this human form. We look around and we always find human beings and therefore we feel, well, what's so special about it? Because familiarity breeds contempt. But if you do the statistics of how many jivas are produced by Brahma and how many attain the human form and how many get the chance to become a devotee in the association of devotees, a fortune on a Sunday morning to read Srimad Bhagavatam, oh, that's the icing on the icing on the icing. In fact, it's the cherry on the cherry on the cherry on the icing of the icing of the icing of the cake of Brahma's creation, if we could say so. So now, text 2. Yatha hi purushasyeha Vishnu padopasarpanam yadesha sarva bhutanam priya atmeshwara suhrit. Now the question could be, okay, Prahlad Maharaj, you were telling us to perform Dharman Bhagavatani hai, to perform bhakti. Whom should we direct it to? Because there are so many demigods or devatas, so many sages, so many sampradayas, so many great personalities. You have Surya Dev, you have Chandra, you have Bhumi Devi, you have Indra. Whom should I worship and why? That's the question. So he answers by, Prahlad Maharaj answers by saying, Vishnoho pada upasarpanam. Bhakti can be defined as that process which drags our heart and consciousness closer and closer to the lotus feet of Vishnu. So he answers that. So naturally, the friends of Prahlad Maharaj, the classmates, are thinking, why Vishnu? Is it just because you are a Vishnu Bhakta, so you want all of us to be Vishnu Bhaktas? He says, no, Yad Esha Sarva Bhutana. This principle is for all living beings. So then they say, why? So Prahlad Maharaj says, Priya, Atma, Ishvara, Suhrit. Because Vishnu alone for all living beings is Priya. He is dear. Atmeshwara, he is the Lord of all of us as Atmas, and Suhrit, he is the only ever well-wishing best friend that every living entity in all circumstances, time, place, beyond planetary circumstance, beyond time circumstance, beyond life circumstance, he is the only, absolutely the only ever well-wishing best friend. Prabhupada explains there are different types of friends that we can have in life. Mitra is a friend who is very affectionate to us. Bandhu is that friend with whom we have a sambandha, a relationship. Sakha is that friend, saha khadati khelati iti sakha, with whom you can play and you can also eat and share lunch. That's sakha. But suhrit is an interesting word. In Sanskrit, the word rit means hriday, heart, and su means good. So what you call a sweetheart or good-hearted person actually originates in Sanskrit as the word suhrit. So Vishnu, being the super soul for every living entity, he actually has a good heart for all of us. He genuinely thinks only the ever well-wishing, supreme well-being for us. The child may get attracted to a knife. The child may get attracted to the flames of fire. The child may get attracted to a bottle of poison. The child may get attracted to an open live wire. But it is a fact, however glittering they all may be, the mother will never let the child get close to any one of this. Why? Because as a child, you may love it, but the mother knows this is not good for you and therefore I wouldn't give. So this is a suhrit. Even if the mother has to jump to save the child and jeopardize her condition, in many times in an accident, let's say, jump to save the child and in that way personally get hurt, the mother is okay to do that only to save her child. And this is suhrit. But she does that as long as she can in one life. But Vishnu does that with full capacity, with full intent, lifetime after lifetime, in all places, in all circumstances, at all time, passage of time for everyone. So Prahlad Maharaj says, therefore, to reciprocate, we should perform bhakti. Srila Prabhupada writes a stunning purport here. He translates the last line, Priya Atma Ishvara Suhrid, as follows. He says, I'm paraphrasing here. He says it's almost like Prahlad Maharaj is pointing towards Raganuga Bhakti. Loving Krishna with spontaneous love, spontaneous attention, affection, attraction, absorption. Why? Because Priya, Atma, Ishvara, and Suhrid refer to the four sthai bhavs, the four main primary relationships we can have with God. And that is the word Ishvara hints to Dasyarati. You can serve Vishnu, and here the word Vishnu may refer to the word Krishna, because the word Vishnu has been used for Krishna multiple times. Yatha Radha Priya Vishnu Tasya Kundam Priyam Tatha. Vyasadeva, while glorifying Radha Kund, he says, as dear Radha is to Vishnu, well, Radha and Vishnu don't match, right? Because the context there is Vishnu is Krishna, right? So Yatha Radha Priya Vishnu, just like Radharani is dear to Krishna, who's also called Vishnu, Tasya Kundam Priyam Tatha. Even Radha Kund is very dear to Krishna. Another very famous reference for Krishna being referred to as Vishnu is Vishnu Bhakti Pradedevyai Satyavatyai Namo Namaha in Tulsi Pranam. Also in the Bhagavatam, Vikriditam Vrajavadhubiridam cha Vishnu. At the end of the Rasa Leela, Shukdev Goswami says, this pastime of Vishnu with the gopis. Who is that Vishnu there? That is Krishna. So here the word Vishnu has come, and for Krishna Bhaktas, it could refer to Krishna. So Vishnu Padopasarpanam, which means bhakti is that which drags us to closer and closer to the lotus feet of Krishna in four moods. What are those four moods? Ishvaraha refers to the mood of a servant towards the master. So that refers to servants of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan, like Raktak and Patrak and Chitrak. They are servants of Nanda Baba in Vrindavan. So they have Dasyarati towards Nanda. So that is Ishvara. You can worship Krishna as the master or in the mood of a servant towards the master. And higher than that is Suhrit, where you can worship Krishna in Sakyarati as a friend. Suhrit means friend. So that refers to Subal and Sridham and Madhumangal and Stoka Krishna and Arjuna, Lavanga, Vijaya, all of these wonderful, Vishal, all of these wonderful friends that Krishna plays with. Mandali Bhadra, where they are climbing on each other's shoulders and stealing butter in the neighbor's house, and sometimes um, jumping on each other's back and playing blind man's buff, and sometimes they play tag and they're running and jumping into water together and stealing each other's lunch. So all of that refers to friendly pastimes, here referred by the word suhrid. Or you can love Krishna in the mood of Vatsalya Rati, like Nanda and Yashoda love Krishna, like a parent to the child, and that is represented by the word Atma. For Mother Yashoda, Krishna is her life, right? And finally, the word Priya refers to Priyatama or Priyatama, referring to the gopis headed by Radha, their love for Shyamasundar. So all these four sthai bhavs have been hinted. I'll read Prabhupada's purport here. Every living entity has an intimate relationship with God. One should therefore glorify the Lord in the adoration of Shanta Ras, or revive his eternal relationship with Vishnu as a servant in Dasya Ras, a friend in Sakhya Ras, a parent in Vatsalya Ras, or conjugal lover in Madhurya Ras. All these relationships are on the platform of love. Vishnu is the center of love for everyone, and therefore the duty of everyone is to engage in the loving service of the Lord. So I kind of tried to map that part of the purport to the words of Prahlad Maharaj, and it perfectly falls in place. So now, if this is the aim of our life in the first two verses, why do we not directly apply? We have read about this. We have heard about this so many times in the past. What stops us from giving our heart to Krishna? So that's answered in the third verse. Sukham aindriyakam daitya deha yogena dehinam sarvatra labhyate daivat yatha dukkham ayatnatah. Why don't jivas generally perform bhakti? That's the question. Because sukham aindriyakam daitya deha yogena dehinam. It is because of one reason, that we don't find joy in bhakti, immediate joy. Japa, we said chant and be happy. But chanting doesn't seem happiness immediately on the first round. Same with reading Srimad Bhagavatam, or worshipping the deities, or hearing a boring class when a speaker like me is speaking, right? So immediately we don't find joy. But however, Aindriyakam, sense enjoyment, seems to be so pleasing immediately. You put a rasgulla in the mouth, wow, there's immediate joy. You go for a movie, immediate joy. You hear some movie songs, immediate joy. You go to a restaurant and eat something, immediate joy, right? Association of like-minded worldly attachments in this world, friends, partying, whatever it may be, it gives immediate titillation and gratification to the senses. So we are so used to feeding immediate joy to our senses and our mind. Now the mind starts taking the path of least resistance. When you come to the path of bhakti, it is the path of patience. It gives joy, but after some time. So we're not used to this. So Prahlad Maharaj says, well, that is the main problem. We are so used to immediate gratification, instant titillation of senses, aindriyakam sukham, that this distracts us from our path. And therefore, in the fourth verse, he gives us an advice. Tat prayaso na kartavyo yatha ayu vyayaparam na tatha vindate kshemam mukunda charanam bhujam. He says, Tat prayasaha na kartavyaha. First instruction to get out of the sense gratificatory cycle, Prahlad Maharaj says, don't waste time. Tat prayasaha na kartavyaha. It's very simple. It's like driving a car. right? You sit in the car, you put your GPS destination, and now you just follow the route. It tells you have to take, let's say, exit 36. Now you have to wait till exit 36. You keep driving on the highway, and when it comes to exit 36, that's when you get to the exit lane and you take a right. Or if you're in New Jersey, then you take a left. Or I was driving in New Jersey and it was a different ball game altogether. I was so used to driving in Atlanta. And I'm like, where are these exits coming in from? They come in the middle of the road. So anyway, so it's like driving. You sit in the car, you put your GPS address, and you follow the route. You don't get distracted. So it's simple. We got into this car of the human form, and our destination address given by the GPS, the Guru Parampara system, is Radha Krishna's lotus feet, Radha Krishna Seva Pabo, A Abhilashi. Now you just keep driving according to the path that they have given us. Anukulyasya Sankalpa and Pratikulyasya Varjanam. Whatever is favorable for your drive, you keep moving. And when you feel you're getting distracted, then bring your attention back. It's like having a child next to us on a passenger seat. The child says, you're on the highway, and the child says, Dad, I need an ice cream, Baskin Robbins or racetrack or whatever. And you're driving. Now, if you get distracted by what the child wants, you're never going to reach your destination, because the child will now want ice cream. Then the child will say, I want a balloon, or then the child will say, I want to watch a movie. So if we keep getting distracted according to the wants of the child, we're now making it there. And who is the child on the human form car? That's our mind. Our mind is sitting next to us and it keeps telling us, hey, why don't you check this out? Hey, why don't you give me an ice cream? Hey, why don't you give me Ferrero Rocher? Why don't you give me this? Why don't you give me that? So now children love such examples. That makes the boring class a little more interactive and funny. So when we are driving, if we keep looking at the child, which in our case is the mind, we will never make it to our destination. So Prahlad Maharaj says, when your mind is speaking, you know it's speaking like the child. Don't keep looking, and definitely don't gratify. You hear the mind just like that. You hear the child in the passenger seat, and then you keep moving. That's all. Don't get distracted. Tat prayasaha na kartavyaha. Don't waste time in efforts which don't lead you to your destination, is what Prahlad Maharaj says. Now, what is the destination? Mukunda Charanam Bhujam. Prahlad Maharaj says it is the lotus feet of Krishna, the lotus feet of Mukunda, the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Radha Mukunda Padasambhava Garma Bindhu. The lotus feet of Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan is our goal. Anything that takes us there, we must embrace it. Anything that takes us away from that, we should reject it without a second thought. This is what Prahlad Maharaj says. Now, I remember many years ago, one friend of mine in school, actually, he had shared a little cartoon painting with me. And I somehow caught that painting because it makes mentally kind of remembered that painting because it makes perfect spiritual sense what that painting depicted. It was a man who was stuck. It was a cartoon painting of a man who was stuck in a deep dark ditch or a pit, and he was crying for help. So people outside the pit, they came and placed a ladder inside the pit so that he could now, it was a long ladder, so that he could climb up the ranks of the ladder and get out of this ditch or this pit or this dry well that he had fallen into. But now he was scared to climb up the ranks. But at the same time, being so deep underground or in the pit, he was feeling so cold. He was really feeling cold. So what to do? He doesn't have his winter jacket on and he doesn't have a heater around. So then he started cutting the ranks of the ladder and making a little bonfire in that pit. The cartoon then said, because he was making bonfire in that pit by cutting the ranks of the ladder, two things were happening. He was keeping himself temporarily comfortable, and at the same time, he was losing the opportunity to get out of the pit because he was burning down those ranks with which he could have actually climbed up and come out. So that cartoon told or hinted to students that while we are in student life, don't get distracted with temporary pleasures. Think of the higher goal and come out of this pit of temptation, right? As students getting into bad association or playing too much or partying or whatever it may be, or girls or boys, whatever distraction that may be, they are like the ranks of the ladder. If we use that just to temporarily feel little warmth, then we will never be able to complete our education and complete our responsibilities. That is what the lesson of that painting, that cartoon was. And it makes perfect spiritual sense, because here Prahlad Maharaj is talking about don't waste time with temporary temptations. And that's exactly what we're doing. Let's say if we are in the pit of this world, bhakti is the ladder. And now instead of using that ladder, or instead of bhakti being the ladder, let's say time is the ladder. So we have time ladder, which is put in, using which we can get out of the cycle of birth and death. But instead, if we use that time to get temporary warmth in the form of sense pleasure, then two things are happening. Two things. We are wasting time. And second, we're also making sure we are not going to come out of the cycle of birth and death. And that's exactly what Prahlad Maharaj is telling us not to do. So now from text 6 onwards, Prahlad Maharaj gets into a discussion for 13 verses, 6 to 18, on how we waste our life, how we waste our time, and what are things that keep us in this world. So till now we heard what we should do. Don't waste time, don't get distracted, and use this life as an opportunity, as an offering to Krishna. Now in the next 12, 13 verses from 6 to 18, he talks about how we successfully waste our life. Pumso varsha shatam yayu tad ardham cha ajitatmanah nishphalam yad asau ratriam shetendham prapitastamah. Prabhupada's translation. Every human being has a maximum duration of life of 100 years, but for one who cannot control his senses, half of those years are completely lost, because at night he sleeps 12 hours, being covered by ignorance. Therefore, such a person has a lifetime of only 50 years. Yes, this is a fact. This is not over exaggeration. This is a fact. Many students, we see they are awake all night and they go off to sleep at around 6 o'clock in the morning. And then they wake up at around 4 o'clock in the evening, only to bathe at night at around 9 o'clock and then be awake all night. So actually, if you see from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., they're sleeping 10 hours. So that's exactly what Prahlad Maharaj is saying here, that if you live a life of 100, which most of us don't, realistically speaking, we should be very grateful and fortunate even if you're able to live about 65, 70 years healthy without much physical disability. So Prahlad Maharaj says on an average in Kali Yuga, according to our calculation, we live 100 years, earthly years. And in the subsequent verses, we will see, he mentions how the first 10 years are lost in just being an infant, just crawling, just playing with toys. And till the age of 10, we don't realize how we wasted 10 years, 1 decade of our life. And then the next 10 years are in, as we enter our teens, next 10 years are lost in just saying no to our parents for everything that they say yes to. Teenage problems, we get distracted, we are restless, we have our agitated and revolting mentality burning in our heart for the next decade. So we see 20 years are lost. And in the last 20 years of our life, we are old and many times in comatose and in a vegetated state. We can't even bathe on our own. We can't even go to the bathroom on our own, right? We've seen this in practical experience of life. So out of 100, we can see 20 in the beginning and 20 at the end gone. And in the remaining 60, you see, half is lost in sleeping, including the first 20 and the last 20. That time also we sleep. So all inclusive, we have about 30 years that we live. And then Prahlad Maharaj says, in those 30 years, you see text, um, yes, it's an interesting section that comes up. Yes, text 11 to 13. He says, in those 30 years that we live, apart from 20 in the beginning, 20 at the end, and all the sleeping time, look how we spend our time. Prahlad Maharaj was 5 years old. It's phenomenal realization. He's not married. He doesn't have children. He doesn't have in-laws and any of these, and doesn't make money. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't compete and envy anyone, but he exactly knows what we do just out of his transcendental realization. He's heard from Narada Muni in the womb, and in the 5 years that he has lived, he's quite intelligent. He's just seen around how his father and how others in the demoniac clan behave. Look at this 11, 12, and 13. I first heard these verses and their explanation from Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. So when I read later Srimad Bhagavatam, these lines were ringing in my ear in Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj's voice. Anyway, Katham priyaya anukampitaya sangam rahasyam ruchiramscha mantran surit sutat snehasitas shishunam kalaksharanam anurakta chitta. Katham priyaya anukampitaya sangam rahasyam rushiramscha mantran. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, in those 30 years, our primary attachment is to our spouse. And that's natural, right? In every family. Prahlad Maharaj says, Katham priyaya anukampitaya. How can a conditioned soul give up any attachment to his devoted wife? She's chaste, she's faithful, she's loyal, she's hardworking, she's clean, and she's devotionally quite conducive, and she helps. She's like a sister, she's like a mother, she's like a daughter, she's like a wife. She plays all the roles. Like a mother, when we need help, she's taking care, she's in the kitchen, she's managing the home. And like a sister, when we need some perspective in life, the wife is always there. Look, the word used is mantran. Like a sister, she gives mantra. Mantra means mantri. In Sanskrit, the word mantri is a minister who gives mantra, solutions to all problems. So many times you can see a sister helps the brother. The brother is down in some mental anxiety, and the sister says, okay, why don't you try this? And the wife amazingly plays all these roles. She plays the role of a wife. She plays the role of a mother. She plays the role of a sister. She also plays the role of a daughter sometimes. Sometimes she may be a little cranky, and the husband has to take the role of a father and say, okay, no problem, I will take care of this. So Prahlad Maharaj says, a spouse who is so wonderful, how can a husband not be attached to her and not get caught in the network of attachment, absorption, bewilderment, and feeling separation? It's but natural. And it doesn't end there, because Suhrit Sutat Sneha Sita Shishunam, the husband and wife, they have children. And what are these children doing? Kala Aksharanam Anurakta Chitta. They speak baby talk. Kala Aksharana means sweet words, sweet voice. And these children are innocent. So they're saying things with a sweet, non-duplicitous heart. And they're saying, Daddy, they're saying, Mommy. Yesterday we went to a home program, and one child was saying, Pitaji, calling his dad. And another devotee was telling me, look at this child, how sweetly the child is calling his father Pitaji. Pitaji, Pitaji, which means father. So Prahlad Maharaj says, Kala Aksharanam. If wife is so favorable and children are so sweet and they talk so kindly, and not just one child, Putran, there may be daughters and sons. Anurakta Chitta, the father is attached to the children, and as a husband attached to his wife. And Putran Smaranta Duhitra Hridaya, Bratran Swasrin Va Pitarau Cha Dino, Grihan Manojnyoru Parichadamscha, Vrittischa Kulya Pashubhritte Vargan. This is text 12, the next one. So then the father starts remembering Putran, his sons, and things out of anxiety. How will he study? How will he graduate? And same for the daughters also. How will they get a job? I hope my son gets a good package. I hope he gets a good salary. I hope he settles quickly so I can retire, because now there's student loan going on, there's house mortgage going on, right? The father is having so many things in his head, and Prahlad Maharaj talks about that. And now, if you have a daughter, then the love is even more, because Duhitra Hridaya. For Putra, he uses the word Smaran. The mind is with the son. But Duhitra Hridaya, the heart is with the daughter, Prahlad Maharaj says. And Prabhupada also writes this in a purport. Typically, it is seen that the sons are more attached to the mother and the daughters are more attached to the father, and vice versa. The mothers are more attached to the sons and the fathers are more attached to the daughters. Right, Keshav Madhav Prabhu? He's busy looking at Vrajakishori there. Yes, it is natural. And Prahlad Maharaj says this goes on forever. Even after the daughter gets married and she goes to the husband's home, now the father's heart, he's living in his home, but the heart is with his daughter who is in the in-laws' home. How is she managing? I hope the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, and the husband, they're favorable. I hope my daughter is not overworking herself. Prahlad Maharaj is talking about all this. And now, whatever heart space we have, Bratran and Swasran, our siblings take over. Imagine your brother's going through some problems, your heart is there, right? Your sister is going through some problem, your heart is there. So, Bratran and Swasran, the brother and the sister, so which means the siblings. And then Pitaro Chadino, and parents are getting older. Imagine you're living in America and your parents are in your home country. Now, you're split, your heart, your mind, your existence. You're going to work, you're paying, you're making, well, you're going to work and doing the work that you're not interested, to make the money that you don't want, to pay the mortgage that you don't need, to maintain the family who doesn't have time for you or you don't have time for them. And amidst all this anxiety, Prahlad Maharaj says, Pitarocha Dino, our heart is torn when you see our parents getting older. And many times you see, unfortunately, parents kids push their parents to old age homes and they don't get proper treatment there. They don't get proper help or comfort, material and emotional. And imagine the parents in the home country, one of them slipped in the bathroom and you get a call in America. And now for you to take a flight and reach there, in case they have a broken hand or they have a head injury because of the unfortunate slip, it's going to take at least 24 hours to reach India. So all of this anxiety, right? Prahlad Maharaj says. And then while you live, let's say all of that is fine. Still, when you live in the home, grihan, house mortgage is a big problem. The bigger the home, the more furniture you need, the upholstery you need to fill all of that. I'm not saying it. Parichadan, which means furniture. You have to design what facing home should it be? Should it be north facing or east facing or south facing? And then you have to see the vastu and you have to see whether it's rand style or whether it's multiple floors. And then you have to consider, should you have a basement or should you not have a basement? Should that basement be fully furnished? How many things? Should the stairs go this way? Should the washer and dryer be here? Right? Yeah, it takes one to know one. We're all grihasthas, so we speak the same language. You have to think about all of these things. And then how many rooms and what should you keep where? Where should the closets be? And what kind of bedstead should you have? How many things in this little head and this little heart? Our heart and our mind space completely split in all this. And to keep the whole thing going, vrittihi, you need money. So now you have to think about taxes, you have to think about investments, you have to think about multiple business ventures so that there's multiple flow of income. If one out of the husband and wife, one gets laid off, unfortunately, you have to think now the other has to maintain the family. If there's multiple sources of income, it'll help because kids are in school. Now you have to think whether they are in public school or private school or they're homeschooled, and how much cost would it take for each one of them. Okay, you want them to go in private school, but it's very expensive. Okay, you want them to go to public school, but now you're concerned about peer pressure and what kind of friends they have. And now if you talk about homeschooling, then the kids have a problem because they have to switch between the mother and who becomes the teacher, and the teacher becomes the mother. So how lenient can the mother be and how strict can the mother be? And if it's just online school, then you have to put the kids to something outdoor like soccer or karate or something where they have friends, because they can't just be glued to smartphone and internet and gadgets. Look how much goes on in the head of a grihastha. Prahlad Maharaj is putting all of that. And then he says, kulyaha, vrittischa kulya pashubhritya vargan. Kulya means other relatives. Now your friends will come over, your father's brother would come over, your mother's brother, mother's sister would come over, then your cousins, their children. My God. And then Pashu Bhritya Vargan. What to speak of, what kind of car to have? Should you have a CRV? Should you have a Subaru Forester? Or should you have a Honda Accord? Or should you, what kind of brand, what kind of resale value? And then you need auto insurance, you need health insurance. And then you also have to think about, okay, if should I buy a new car or should I get a second-hand car? And in that case, how many years old, how many miles should they have been, the car should have been driven? And then you should have, if you have multiple drivers, then you insure all of them on your auto insurance and you pay more. And you have a little accident and then your auto insurance goes up. All of this is Pashu, Bhritya, Vargan, worrying about cars. And now to add more, we have pets at home. So that's what is called as Pashu. Sometimes we have cats and we have multiple dogs, and that's a different topic altogether, but we're having all of this going on. And Prahlad Maharaj then says, Tyajeta kosha krid iva ihamana karmani lobhat avitripta kama opastya jaivam bahumanyamana katham virajyeta duranta moha. He says our senses are pushing and pulling in so many directions, and successfully we have become a silkworm wrapped up in the cocoon of our own plans. And now it's too late. How do we get out? He uses the word avitripta kamaha, lobha. We are greedy for more money. We have more material desires. Now we want to match up with the social status of others, even in devotee community. Okay, if I live in a small home, what will other devotees think of me? I need to have an individual family home. Oh, okay, what if I have a town home? What if I live in an apartment? So many considerations, right? We have to match up to what others are living. Now, every child has his or her own room. Now, if you have two kids, now you need two rooms at least, and then you have a master bedroom, and then you need a guest bedroom in case someone comes over. So now you're looking for 4-bedroom home. Now you need at least 3 baths or 2.5 baths, a powder bath and 2 complete baths. So many things go on in the mind. And now to have such a home in the city where we are working, the real estate is high. So now you have to down pay 20% or 25%, and you're looking for 700,000, 800,000, 1 million. Here in Atlanta, townhomes are at 1 million. Townhomes are at 1 million, 1.1 million. So real estate has boomed after COVID. So now amidst all of this, where is the time and where is the mental focus and energy to understand why we are human beings and how do we get out of this cycle? Prahlad Maharaj says this is the problem. And aupastya jaifam bahumanyamana. And to add more trouble, in our lives, we have prioritized our tongue and our genital to the highest priority list. Prahlad Maharaj says, Bahumanyamana, we give more importance to these two senses than needed, and therefore Duranta Mohaha, we are caught in unlimited problems. It's almost like we are like an ant on top of a wooden plank, and this wooden plank is on fire on both ends. Imagine an ant on a wooden piece, a wooden plank, and there's fire on both ends, and the wooden plank is burning. And that's our thing, because we've already spent, so that wooden plank is our life, and we are like the ant. The first part of our life is already burnt down. We can ask ourselves how many years we have spent in this body, and that's how much the fire on the first end has taken away the wooden plank of our life. And now we don't know the old age, how it's going to be. That's already burning on the other end. So now we are stuck in the middle. Now, to add more trouble, we have desires in the heart, which is another fire, and distractions outside, which is another fire. So we are stuck between two Ds: desires inside, distractions outside. And therefore, we need another D to save us. That is devotion. That is the leaf. So we are like an ant on a wooden plank of life, and fire on both ends, burning our life. Now Prahlad Maharaj is coming and keeping a leaf next to this ant, the leaf of these instructions. So if we, like an ant, can get on top of that leaf of this instruction, we'll be out of the wooden plank of repeated birth and death forever. And what should we do for that? What is our main duty after? Well, we've described the problem statement. Now, what do we do? So Prahlad Maharaj, later on, he, in text 24, he says, Tasmat sarveshu bhuteshu dayam kuruta sauridam bhavam asuram unmuchya yaya tushyat adokshajah. This is the essence of everything. He says, Tasmat sarveshu bhuteshu dayam kuruta sauridam. Try to please Adhokshaja by performing bhakti. What is bhakti? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, ityadi. Hear about Krishna, speak about Krishna, remember Krishna, worship the deity form of Krishna, offer prayers to Krishna, associate with devotees, so and so forth. And while doing that, Sarva Bhuteshu Dayam Kuruta. Be nice to all living beings. This is very important. If we perform Shravanam and Kirtanam, and if we are very rude, and if we are very harsh and very blunt, very blatant in all of our dealings, then bhakti will not fructify. Dayaya sarva bhuteshu santushtya yena kenava sarvendri upashantya cha tushyatyashu janarthana. In the fourth canto, Narad Muni has said the same thing. Be kind to everyone. One, dayaya sarva bhuteshu. Second, santushtya yena kenava. Always be satisfied. Keep your material desires minimum. Don't jump on this. There's a saying in Shastra that if material enjoyment and material gratification is to the west, God is to the east. You can find him, which is joy personified, by walking in the opposite direction. So keep your material wants minimum and be satisfied in all walks of life. So that's the second thing. Be kind to everyone. Always be satisfied with the clothing that you wear, with the food that we get, with the spouse that we have, with the money that we make, with whatever comes naturally. Let us learn to be satisfied and not always micromanage people around to get what we want, to nag, to always complain, to always criticize and blame and be dissatisfied. That's not the path of satisfaction. Whatever comes on its own accord, we have to learn to make peace with it. So I would say first principle, perform bhakti, 9 limbs of devotion. Second, dayaya sarva bhuteshu, being kind to everyone, devotees, non-devotees, humans, animals, trees. That's what Prahlad Maharaj is saying. Dayam kuruta sauridam, with a nice heart, be kind to everyone. Third, always be satisfied. Fourth, don't give in to temptations. If the senses are distracting us and forcing us to take an exit which is not taking us on our destination GPS, avoid such temptations. Things that are not good for us, keep it far away. And fifth, Prahlad Maharaj says, Bhavam asuram unmichya. Give up demoniac mentality by keeping demoniac people out, which means keep bad association away. Whether it's in the form of people, whether it's in the form of smartphone. Certainly, we don't see our smartphone as a person. Imagine every reel, every video, everything that we see is actually that person we physically associate with. Our mind gets the impression. Now, imagine if you see a dog video, the mind gets an impression of actually interacting with a dog. And that's where the titillation comes in. That's when those emotions set in. You see a movie, why do some people cry and some people smile? Because those movies pull us into the experience of actually being there. Same with any video that we see. Imagine you see a video for 30 seconds, which is graphic. Now you can slide it away or scroll it away, but that impression remains and gives the brain the same impact of actually seeing and witnessing circumstantially that same performance, that same person, that same emotion. So if you keep scrolling, you're putting your brain through all of those bad association in real life. So these are 5 things to take care. Perform bhakti with full intention. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Make a sadhana plan. I will chant so many rounds. I will read so many pages. I will hear so many minutes. I will serve the devotees, etc. And we try to be as Krishna conscious, even at work, even while driving, even while bathing. Keep the holy name on the tongue so that we do our duties. We may find our babies speaking very cute, but use that as an impetus to remember, if my baby is talking so sweetly, I can't even imagine how Krishna Balaram would be playing on the lap of Yashodarani. So you are in this world, but not of this world. We are in the muddy pool, but we are remembering the lotus-eyed Lord. So performing bhakti, being kind to everyone, always being satisfied, keeping distractions away, keeping bad association away in the form of a person, in the form of gadgets. So by doing these 5 things, we get out of the cycle of birth and death. And not to forget, finally, we offer lots and lots of prayers. There's one prayer that I really like, which I would like to conclude with. It is written by Rupa Goswami Pad and quoted in the purport to the 36th verse of Mukundamala Stotra of King Kulashekara. Rupa Goswami Pad sings, Manasi Japani Jushte Labdha Patosmi Dushte Timira Gahana Rupe Hanta Sansara Kupe Ajita Nikhila Raksham Etumuddhara Daksham Upanaya Mama Haste Bhakti Rajjum Namaste. Rupa Goswami is praying, my dear Krishna, Manasi Japani Jushte Labdha Patosmi Dushte. I am a sinful person. Of course, Rupa Goswami is not, but he's praying for all of us. He's saying, my dear Krishna, I am a sinful person, and therefore, naturally, I have fallen into the deep, dark well of repeated birth and death, where there is a snake, the snake of lusty impulses. And there is not one drop of joy in the form of water here. So I am in a blind, deep, dark well, darkness of avidya, deep of how unfathomably insurmountable this ocean of material existence is. And at the same time, it's dry. There's no joy, no water droplet of joy here. And it's filled with snakes of material desires. That's the kind of well we are stuck in. So, Timira Gahana Rupe Hanta Sansara Kupe. I am stuck, my dear Lord. So now what's the way out? Ajita Nikhila Raksham Hetumuddhara Daksham. Krishna, I can beg for deliverance at the feet of other jivas who are also stuck in the same well. I need to ask someone who's outside this well, and that is you. So, Krishna, please throw in a rope, the rope of mercy, the rope of bhakti. Please throw in a rope. I will hold it tightly and you pull me out, which means you please give me bhakti and let me hold on to the rope of devotion and please you. And may that bring me closer and closer to you out of the cycle of birth and death. So these are, of course, this chapter can be elaborated for many days, but since it's a 1-hour class from 8 to 9, it's exactly 9 o'clock now. So I tried to do, to the best of my ability, an overview of important points of the problem statement and a synopsis of the solution that will help us get out. So I'll pause here. If there are any questions or comments, we can take for a few minutes.
Thank you very much for great inputs, Prabhuji. Wonderful.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Grateful. Anyone has questions, please raise your hands or speak up.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank
Yes.
you so much for wonderful class. So much nectar, like Grihastha like us. Very nice, Prabhuji. Just you were talking about kind. Reminded me when my daughter was in Canada. She was in elementary school. There was three B's like be kind, be fair, be nice, and that every week they were having like who will be kind. They were getting the prize, one person. So all kids were always be like kind, fair, and nice. So it was very nice. That reminded me when you were talking about this. Very nice class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your association. Hare Krishna.
So thank you for this wonderful reflection. Good. We should always see the happenings of this world through the eyes of Shastra. So that's good. Any other reflections or comments or questions? Yes.
Prabhuji, you mentioned about 5 points. Can you please repeat that? I'll just make a note of it. I missed that.
Sure. Performing bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So to be absorbed in the positive, reading, hearing, chanting, serving, associating with devotees, etc. Second, always being kind to everyone, every person. And okay. Thank you. Second is Dayaya Sarva Bhuteshu, to always be kind to everyone, whether someone's a devotee or a non-devotee or male or female or Indian or American or young or old or animal or tree or bird or insect, to everyone, to be kind to everyone. Second. Third, to always be satisfied in all circumstances possible, with respect to the spouse that we have, with respect to the money that we make, with respect to the food that we get. Not to always complain, oh, today there's no salt. Oh, today there is so much salt. There is no taste. Some people complain like that. So we should be very mindful that this is Krishna Prasad and we should be happy and grateful. There are people who don't have to, there are people who don't have enough food to eat on that day, and we are complaining about the picks and choices that we're making. So that's the third. And now the fourth is to keep distractions away. Distractions. Keeping our material desires as low as possible. If we have material ambitions, material distractions, then we'll have to bleed a lot. We spend a lot of time and a lot of energy, a lot of resources in trying to fulfill those material desires. And fifth is to keep away from bad association, whether it is people or whether it's gadgets, and to utilize time effectively. So if we use these 5 principles, then while doing all our duties, we can still be like a lotus untouched by the muddy pool. Okay. Seems like there are no questions, so we will pause here. Thank you so much. My obeisances to Madhupati Prabhu, my obeisances to Krishna Namananda Prabhu, my obeisances to the most beautiful Radha Shamasundar, and to everyone in Central New Jersey who participated, and especially my obeisances to everyone who turned on your videos. It was very personal. Personally, when you were looking into the camera and I was looking into the camera, I felt more enthused and inspired. So to all of you who switched on your videos, my obeisances, and those who didn't, still fine, because it's Paramatma mode where I can't see you, but you still can see me. It's just like Krishna in the Super Soul feature. We can see him, but he can see us. So still okay, no problem. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Pattanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. Antakoti Vaishnava Vijay.
Thank you.
Announcements. We joined for Sunday Feast program today evening, and we are gearing up for Narsingha Chaturdasi. May 11th Sunday, big celebration. Please get ready. Invite your friends and families. Probably 4 to 9. And April 30th is Akshaya Tritiya, very auspicious day to chant more, hear more, serve more, offer your charity, donation, whatever you want to do. All those, that is the best day. No muhurta needed. You can do all the wonderful things on that day. I think this coming April 27th is Gadadhar Pandit's appearance, if I remember. And that Sunday feast is only Rompas Maharaj will be speaking in the evening. So see you all today evening. Govindas, if you would like to place order, you want to also sponsor any Sunday feast or I think please contact us. Sunday feast is 401 Govindas you can place for your birthday or anniversary, any home programs. govindasnj.com or contact Madhupati Prabhu or one of us. So we'll try to help you. That. Anything else, Madhupati Prabhu? We are going for book distribution today. If anybody is available, let us know.
24th is Ekadashi.
Yeah, 24th Thursday is Ekadasi. Varudhini Ekadasi. For most places, some places I think maybe Wednesday. Check your calendar. We'll try to post the message soon.
Yeah, now for ours, New Jersey it's 24 and
Yeah.
Parana is 6:02 to 10:37.
Okay, with that, we'll conclude. Thank you very much for your kind association. Hare Krishna. See you all in the evening.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everybody. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.